Hundreds of men and women ever since the 1900s have used real estate to fire their boss, quit the rat race, and retire early. And today, I'm gonna reveal their full real estate strategy. This is the exact method that took guys like Chris to making $15K a month with his multifamily properties, working 2 hours a week, or guys like Carlos, who owns several $1 million worth of real estate after immigrating here with only $150 in his pocket. So how did these average people who all started with completely different backgrounds and finances do it? Well, I've spent the last month studying these investors and interviewing them so you don't have to. And I'm gonna boil it down into 3 main parts that have made their real estate investing so effective. Starting with the very thing that is the most simple yet most overlooked. And that's rich people, they just think differently. They have 2 basic principles. Taxes keep you poor, and passive income creates freedom because you don't have to trade time for money anymore. And that's why real estate is so effective. For example, one of my investors, Chris, just house hacked from one multifamily property to another. So what do is he would buy a multifamily property owner occupied with a low down payment, live in one unit, and then rent out the rest. So he would live with 0 housing expenses. So imagine that your biggest expense is now gone because he has the rental income coming in from the multi-unit. Plus, the government gives him tax benefits because he owns real estate, especially multifamily property, because there's more benefits there. So he didn't live like a consumer, which is how 99% of people live. Okay, but what does that mean? What that means is that they changed their perception. They changed the way they view things. They took things apart and saw inside for what it really was, right? That the system is broken and it's not set up for you to basically retire comfortably or at least achieve financial freedom. And that is what separates the millionaires from the average people. I know it's cheesy and everybody says it, but honestly, how you view things is really important. But you can be the next Tony Robbins, and without these 3 success models, you're not gonna go anywhere, as these 3 that I'm gonna talk about right now drive the most results. Every investor I've interviewed and helped finance their next deal has gone through the same 4 stages of growth. The first one is they understand a deep why. What is their motivation? Because real estate investing is very stressful. If you don't have a strong enough motivation, you're gonna quit very early on. The second thing that they start doing is actually buying a real estate. You don't have to go crazy and buy, 10 single family homes. Most don't, but whether it's a single family home, multifamily property, they just get started. They just start buying, even if you live in it, right? The third stage is they start to build equity over time and use forced depreciation. The fourth and final stage is that they start to receive enough rental income to replace their active income, which thus means that they don't have to work as much as they did before. It's kind of incredible. You could buy an appreciating asset that gives you value, have someone else pay the debt on that appreciating asset, and then you get all the benefits. The tax benefits, you get to use that equity. Now, granted, you're responsible for it. And yes, there are some tasks and things you have to do, but if you do it right, it's a triple play. You get all those benefits. Well, now you might be thinking, Ben, that sounds great, but how does that actually break down in reality? Well, I'm glad you asked. Every successful real estate investor uses some or all 3 of these models to be able to scale to financial freedom. The first is the fix and flip model. You buy low, renovate, then sell high. It takes a lot of hours, but if you find the right deal and budget correctly, you can raise capital quickly in 1 to 6 months. So this is what a lot of investors will use in the beginning to be able to get capital and start investing and buying for long-term rentals. Now, I've personally funded a lot of fix and flip projects as I'm a hard money lender, and I've been a part of a lot of fix and flip projects. So I can tell you that if you don't have the right crew and the right construction team, you're gonna lose a lot of time and a lot of the money, especially if you buy the wrong deal. Second model is the wholesaling model. It's great for people who could find distressed properties, get under contract with a seller, and then they'll flip it and sell that contract to an investor for a profit and keep the difference. If you want to get into real estate without a huge upfront investment, this is the way that a lot of people will go, but just be prepared to get rejected and to find and hunt for a lot of different deals. Final model is the one that every successful investor eventually lands on, and that's the buy and hold model. This is where you want to be long term. Basically, you buy a property. If it has potential to fix it up, you fix it up. Or if it's turnkey ready, meaning you don't have to do any work to it, then you buy it and then you hold on to the property for rental income. The goal is to generate cash flow. You have enough of these properties, then it replaces your active income. In my opinion, multi-units is the best way to do this because you have multiple doors under one roof. It's easier to manage instead of having 15, 20, or 50 homes, right? I'd rather have 4 multifamily properties in the same relative area than having like 40 or 30 different single family homes. Oh, and by the way, if you're finding value so far, be sure to subscribe so you can get more valuable content related to real estate investing and financing programs that you can use to scale your portfolio. Okay, Ben, that's great. I want to start investing in real estate. I want to get a little bit closer to financial freedom, but I don't have cash or enough capital to pay for all these deals. So what do you do? Well, of course, that is why this next part is the most disregarded, yet the most important, and many don't even understand it. And that's your financing options. It doesn't make sense to tie up all your capital into properties because you always want to have cash on hand for the next deal or for reserves. As a lender, I can confidently tell you that there are 4 loan programs that I'm seeing the most used right now for successful investors to either scale their portfolio or for new investors to start investing. The first is DSCR loans. You can buy a property 20% down. They don't look at your personal income and they don't look at personal debt. This is powerful because you can have 10 properties or 10 businesses and they won't look at your situation. They only look at the rental income from the property. Same goes for a cash out refinance. If you do a flip and you want to use a DSCR loan, you can use that loan to take cash out of the single family home, and it's the best way to do it because the loans are so simple. The second is hard money loans. It's great if you need to get cash quickly, 7 to 10 days, and close on a property and fund 100% of construction. The way it works is we'll give you money for acquisition plus 100% of the rehab budget. Now, most of the time it's 20% down. If you're an experienced investor, you can do 10% down. I do a lot of hard money loans. So if you have any questions, just reach out to me directly. The third is relatively new. It's a 5-day HELOC program that we have. This allows you to take equity out quickly without touching your first mortgage and without getting an appraisal. It's all done online and it literally funds in 5 to 7 days. I've seen it fund as fast as 5. So if you have any questions on that as well, I'll put that in the description. The fourth and most popular lending program that you don't want to miss is the 5% down conventional program. You can buy up to 4 units, putting 5% down and start house hacking right away. Now, this is only for owner-occupied loans, but a bonus to that is you can get a construction loan with the 5% down loan. That way you can fix up the building, rent it out, and get cash flow right away. I have so many other creative financing programs, but if you want to think even more outside the box, not even using a traditional lender, there's 2 ways. You can do seller financing where they carry the note, but you make the payments to them, or you can do a partnership where you just raise capital. And so you can have multiple people invest on a deal. I have some people that I know, some brokers that they have a list of investors. They can just send out 1 email and raise capital that way. Oh, and before we close out this video, let me share with you some of the best advice I probably have ever heard from some of the millionaire investors I've worked with. The first thing is be patient. A lot of these investors have been able to look at 50, 100, 200 deals before moving on the right one because they not only have seen so many other deals, they know when to spot a good deal, but also they rather not buy a money pit than rush into a deal that doesn't make sense. The second thing they said is invest in your education because if you don't, you're going to pay one way or another, either for your ignorance or for the knowledge that you've gained. And the third thing is don't give up because most will. A lot of people realize how hard this is. That's why if your motivator and your why isn't strong enough, then you're going to give up pretty fast. Especially for guys, for example, that come to me that want to buy their first 4 unit and start house hacking or do their first flip. They start it or they start looking for the right deal and then they give up because they can't find the right deal and they end up just buying like a single family home. The fourth thing is a little bit more on the technical side, but have a 3 to 6 month cash reserve for every single property that you own. 2 things happen a lot with your properties is number 1, you're going to have vacancies. So tenants might move in, might move out, sometimes without even telling you. I just had an investor call me, her tenant literally just like left, didn't even tell anyone. And the second thing is that plumbing, electrical, sometimes things go wrong in your properties. So you want to make sure you have money to cover that expense. So that's a full breakdown of how every investor achieves financial freedom through real estate investing. And no doubt you can try it all on your own, but it's really, really difficult if you don't have a community and you don't have a strong team around you to help you get from A to Z. And if you don't have the right strategies and capital to finance your way to freedom, it can be very difficult. So if you're still in the beginning stages, you want to start investing, or you're looking to scale your portfolio, whatever it might be, contact my team and I directly. We have a lot of different loan options to be able to finance and get you the capital that you need to buy your first or 50th property. My name's Ben. Hope you found value in this. Thank you.